Today, we're going to be taking a look at Bitcoin, jumping down into the world of BTC, taking a look at the most recent price action and what we think is likely to happen next. We have a reasonably big day. We've got the FOMC meeting later, so that might have a bit of an impact on the price action of BTC. So we're going to see how things go. We're going to go through kind of what's happened in the last few hours or so, see how the price action is reacting to some key levels, and whether or not we have any more to the upside before the meeting later today. As I get into this video, if you find it useful and informative, smash that like button. I do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, then why not go ahead and subscribe? Tap the bell, select all the notifications, and in doing so, you will be kept up to date with absolutely everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. And if you haven't yet joined us in Discord, check it out, linked in the description down below. It's a fantastic community talking crypto 24/7. It's completely free, and I don't think you'll be disappointed by what you find down there. We do offer a lot more via Discord for our Patreon members. Patreon is linked in the description down below if you're looking for a little bit more from the crypto space. Why not check out what we have to offer there? Let's jump down into the world of Bitcoin though. So BTC paired up with USDT on the hourly chart, and Binance is the data source. Now, following on from yesterday afternoon's video, we were talking about the potential for this ranging market to go in either direction, up or down. I thought we were going to go down, and we actually had this kind of scoped out at 16,630, and you can see we actually came down just a fraction lower here at 16,605 just here. So you can see the dashed line is my area. The big yellow box is the demand area. This is where I thought the buying pressure was, and you can see that we actually peaked down just a little fraction below it. We don't, of course, see this big run to the upside where we smashed past the previous resistance of the supply zone. We're talking about this as well kind of yesterday, where there was so many times that we were coming up here until eventually we do break on through it. We actually reached up to the second supply area just at the top here. This one is ranging at the 16,880 to 16,927, just short of that $17,000 target that we've been talking about for a while now. So this is good. This is positive. It does show us with an interesting kind of structure here, and we're not yet done. Okay, so if I zoom out just a fraction here, I know this can be a little bit complicated. If you join us down in Discord, you will find that we have a PDF. There's 181 pages that explains Elliott wave theory, which is what is being applied to the charts here. It can be a little bit complex, which is why I also created a video course, so you can choose whichever way you want to kind of go. There's a free PDF in Discord, but the video course, unfortunately, it does have a cost associated with it because the platforms that it uses to host these things actually has quite a significant cost to it. So we need to kind of make things, at least cost neutral where possible. But again, linked in the description below, you'll find the Discord server, or you'll find the Cheeky School. You can choose whichever option you prefer. So as we kind of take a look at this, we can kind of see that we are expecting a slightly higher range here. We're looking to push up more towards the 17,000 and 17,100 level, right? So we know that there's a little bit more progression here. Now, the pattern that's currently in here is actually giving me some encouragement to think that we might have another run to the upside, okay, that there will have to be a correction first. So we can see a couple of things happening potentially today. Because of the FOMC meeting, we might actually end up seeing a bit of a pull to the downside and then another rapid move to the upside. Usually before the price moves up, you have to see these liquidations, and that's kind of exactly what we saw over here, right? The price pushed up, lots of people going long, so they get wiped out with the price going down. Then loads of people go short on the market, and the price continues in the direction that it was going in. Basically, a lot of liquidity is being grabbed, a lot of retail investors losing because they're betting on the wrong direction, essentially. So let's go ahead and take a look at what's been going on here, right? So since we hit our low targets down here, we can see that we started to move on up. Now, this particular pattern is looking like a 5-wave structure. So we'll go ahead and just draw this in, and we'll move this over. This is actually a really weak wave too, but we have crossed the 1.618. And so for the most part, that's not too bad. Taking a look at the current structure here, I think we've still got to move down just a fraction before we could potentially move up any. So we'll probably be looking at around the 16,821 potentially, and it would look something like this. So coming down, B coming up, and then we just look for, as I said, that little bit more to the downside just to kind of finish that off. Okay, so once that is done, I would expect us then to start kind of thinking about that that next move to the upside. Now, it's possible, however, that we don't go down any lower and we're already where we need to be. Okay, that's also possible. So we don't want to kind of rule it out completely. We do want to kind of keep an eye on these things. And there's lots of different kind of ways that this could go. So I'm going to give you a kind of pessimistic view, which means come down first and then go up afterwards. Okay, and this is important because we need to be able to ascertain how high this final fifth wave is going to go. And for that, we are going to take the lower area. Actually, I'm going to take the existing low, and I'll tell you the reasoning. It gives us a lower target if I do this. Okay, so this gives us a more pessimistic kind of view. So I'm going to go and draw this in, and this will be the area that we kind of target out immediately. Okay, then I'll go ahead and delete that fib off there. This basically comes in at around the 16,929, 16,954. Now this is based on the existing low holding, so that's this one just here. So that holds at 16,840, and we do not go any lower. If we go lower, then that target actually increases, it goes up higher. Okay, so if we do come down towards our 16,820 level, then of course that target does go up higher. So this is more the pessimistic view. So we'll assume two things. One, will go down lower, and then obviously we won't reach as high as we were thinking. So if we just think just short of $17,000, now given the fact this is Binance, I wouldn't be surprised if it hits $17,000 to the penny and then gets rejected. Okay, so we'll keep an eye on that, because that's usually how this platform loves to make things work. So all in all, when we take a look at the structure, it would look like this. Okay, and we finish that. Then from here, I'll be looking for 3 waves down, probably to retest this previous area of supply. Okay, and we'll be looking to see if we can turn it into a demand zone. Okay, now this is the important part. Okay, you can't have 5 waves up and to start off a structure with 5 waves and not end in 5 waves. Okay, so 5 waves up, 3 waves down. The next thing you would expect would be 5 waves up. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, taking us to this supply zone area just at the top here above the $17,000 level. Okay, so we've got a couple of options here. We're going to get rejected here. We're going to pull back down into the demand zone, and then we're probably going to rally up. Now, because of the FOMC meeting, it might not be anything, right? We might see nothing major happen whatsoever. Or we might see this accelerated, okay? And we might see this rally up here because everyone's trying to price in exactly what they think is going to happen later. We get these corrections that could be quick, could just take 4 hours to come all the way down here. And then the FOMC meeting happens, and then the price rallies all the way up here in a really rapid motion up to the supply zone, and then we are done. And one of the things that we need to really reflect on here is that if I zoom out even further, this is a larger C wave movement that is an ABC structure that is potentially ending in a zigzag of 535. And if I zoom out even further, that is our B wave structure. And that means that we have to have this C wave come down towards the $15,000 level. And if we zoom out even further over that, all of this is potentially just going to be an A wave out of a larger ABC structure, taking us down towards the $13,000 level, right? So we don't want to get too carried away. We need to make sure that we're aware of all of these kind of substructures, where they currently sit, where we currently are in the kind of the market structure overall, and so that we can focus in, right? We can't think that everything is going to be absolutely amazing and, you know, we're going to the moon when we've got structures that are telling us that actually we need to be moving down. Now, they don't have to play out, but there's a high probability that they will, okay? And ultimately what we're doing here is we're tracking people's behavior, and people's behavior in the larger time frames are telling us a very powerful story. We talk about the wallet counts all the time as well, and there's nothing positive happening there. So just be aware that essentially it looks like we are going to need to do a zigzag pattern here, and that's at worst case scenario. We can of course come up to the area that I would really like to see, which would be that slightly higher range, and for that to happen we would have to see a much deeper wave 2, and then a big wave 3, 4, and then 5, and we'd have to see this as a 3-3-5 corrective structure. Rather than a zigzag pattern here, you'd have to have it as a much bigger 5-wave pattern, and it would have to be something like this, right? So it's one of those, it's a long shot, it's not a guarantee, but you can kind of see how we'd have to have this kind of really good rally up here. It's possible, of course. So the kind of the pessimistic in me just says it's going to be a zigzag, but you know, we have this supply zone a little bit higher up, which is where our B wave was originally going to be, and this actually comes in at 17,200 to 17,500 approximately. So you can kind of see that this is the area really, if I zoom out even further, there isn't terribly too much more above it. So this would be the kind of the ultimate kind of high point. Now, there's no guarantee that that plays out. Obviously, at the moment, it looks like it's going to be this slightly lower range, basically between 17,080 and 17,126. That seems to be the one at the moment to be thinking about. But essentially, yeah, there's a fair few things going on here for Bitcoin. Essentially, we moved up. We've found ourselves up in the supply zone. We're likely to move down to the previous supply zone and see if we can turn it into a demand zone. I estimate that we should, because we can't just have a random 5-wave structure. It could be, of course, in a regular flat. That could be a thing. I don't think that's really what's going on here anyway, but it's possible. But essentially, I do think this is actually just going to come down in a 3-wave fashion. We're going to then confirm that this is now a demand area. Think of it as previous resistance flipped to support, and then we'll come up in 5 waves again, reaching up into the higher areas and kind of hitting those $17,000 levels that we've been talking about for a little while. And of course, all of that is a part of a much bigger play, taking us down to reasonable lows, but not new lower lows, and then we should bounce up again and then drop down into the final new lows for BTC. And I say final because I have no structure after 13K. I don't know what will happen then. I imagine that we're going to have a big swing move to the upside at around $13,000, but I don't know, if that's the actual bear market low at this point. We'll have to see what happens after. But everything that is kind of being mapped out here on BTC from an Elliott wave theory point of view, using and incorporating some smart money concepts into this, is helping us to kind of get a good idea as to kind of where we think the shorter time view is going, where the slightly longer term view is going as well. Hopefully you have found this brief update on Bitcoin useful and informative. If you have, smash that like button. I do appreciate that. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. And if you're looking for more, join us down in Discord. Linked in the description down below. It's completely free. I don't think you'll be disappointed by what you find down there, so why not go ahead and check it out, guys. Until the next one, have a fantastic day.